right, guys, today we're going to look at some different targets. Remember that this is all review from things we've done before, probably even first semester, I believe. So we're going to be looking at the top of this paper and describing characters. And we're going to look at the characters, what they look like. They might be very tall, have brown hair, and this guy has a scary face. And then we're going to be talking about how the characters think or feel. And here he is feeling angry that Jack stole the harp. And then we're looking at things that characters say or do. So they try to catch Jack and he chases Jack. And then what they are like, their personality. Remember, that's their insides. He is grumpy, mean, and scary. And don't forget that when we are talking about that, we will need to have tech support. So we're also looking at illustrations. And so why did the author use an illustration instead of a photograph? Is the style of the illustration appealing? And what can you learn from that illustration? Over here on this side, we're going to be looking at context clues. And there are different types of context clues. So when you come to a word that you don't know, you might use context clues to determine the meaning of the word. So maybe you're using an inference, and that means the meaning's not given, so you have to use the text clues. And then we are looking at definitions. So the meaning of the word is explained in the sentence. And a lot of times if it's going to be explained in the sentence, there is a comma and it is defined right after the word. Or like this sentence over here, it says, Ricardo is so arrogant, he thinks he is more important than everyone else. So arrogant would mean more important than everyone else. And then there's maybe going to be an example of the word in the sentence or a nearby sentence. So we can see that Ricardo is so arrogant, he is always bragging about how great he is at sports. So the example is that he's bragging at how good he is at sports. Sometimes you might see an antonym, and that is a word with the opposite meaning that is used in the sentence or nearby sentences. So Ricardo is so arrogant, he needs to learn to be humble like his little brother, Jose. So we know that they want him to not be arrogant, and he needs to be humble like his brother. So that is an antonym for arrogant. And then synonym words with similar meaning are used in or near the sentence. So Ricardo is so arrogant, proud, self-centered, and overbearing. So when you see those listed like that, arrogant, proud, self-centered, and overbearing, you might realize that proud, self-centered, and overbearing are words that mean similar things. So since they are listed like that, the arrogant would mean the same thing. So strong users are always going to read the sentences surrounding the unknown word to look for clues. So we're going to look at this next page together. And again, we're going to be, first of all, we're going to be describing the characters in the story. We are going to determine the meaning of unknown words and phrases as they are used in the text and distinguish literal from non-literal language. And then 3, we're going to explain how specific aspects of the illustrations contribute to what is conveyed by the words in a story. Now, guys, this is a drama, and usually when we have dramas in the classroom, we read it together, and so everybody takes on a different part. So normally you would not say the person's name before they speak, but I'm going to say it here so that we all can kind of stay together and know who is speaking. So the characters are going to be Brandon, who is a 9-year-old boy, and Granny, who is Brandon's grandmother. Scene 1. The curtain opens showing Brandon and Granny in a kitchen. Brandon, I can't wait to see Dad's face when he sees his birthday cake surprise. Granny, he won't believe that you baked that chocolate pie. Brandon, he's holding that egg up. My dad is going to be shocked, Granny. Granny, just tap that egg on the bowl's rim. Once it cracks, drop the egg in the bowl. Brandon, I did it. Granny, now pour that flour, milk, and mix it with the whisk. Pour it on the cake pan. I will preheat the oven before you start baking the cake. Brandon places the pan in the oven. The cake will be ready in 25 minutes. Granny, your dad's gonna love that cake. Brandon's taking the cake out of the oven. This cake looks and smells delicious. Okay, so Brandon is really excited about that cake for Dad. Let's look at our first question. It says, what does the word shocked mean as it is used in this sentence? So let's look back at our text, and it says Brandon is holding the egg, and he says, my dad is going to be shocked, Granny. And we know that earlier in the text that they were talking about that this cake is a birthday surprise. So we know that Dad does not expect this, and he's going to be shocked that it is happening. So let's look back using those context clues. Do we think that Brandon's dad will be shocked by lightning? Will he get a gift? Or will he have a birthday party? Or does shocked mean to be surprised? And I think because it said in the sentence that they were having a birthday surprise and his dad is going to be shocked, that it's going to mean D, that he's going to be surprised. Let's look at number 2. Which picture would best help a reader of Baking with Granny understand the events in this drama? Well, first of all, I believe that they were making a cake and not cookies. Let's look back. Oh, yep, birthday cake surprise. So cookies would not be a good illustration to support this. Again, it was not a party, and they were not wrapping a gift. What they were doing were baking a cake with Grandma and the grandson. Okay? Which word best describes Brandon in scene 1? Is he greedy, shy, nervous, or kind-hearted? I don't think he acts greedy. He is not wanting everything for himself. He is not showing that he's shy. He doesn't seem to be nervous about this party, but I think he is kind-hearted, and my support for that would be he is kind-hearted because he's doing this birthday surprise for his dad, and he's just so excited to surprise his dad and leave him a good treat. And then number 4, in the drama Baking with Granny, Granny says she'll preheat the oven. What does the word preheat mean? And in here you can see that it says, now pour the flour and mix it with the whisk. Flour and milk and mix it with the whisk. Pour it on the cake pan. I will preheat the oven before you start baking the cake. The key here is going to be before you start baking the cake. So as we look to heat the oven before you start baking, to clean the oven before you start baking, to set a timer on the oven for 25 minutes, or to cool the cake before decorating. She says she's going to preheat it before she starts baking the cake. So it would be to heat the oven before you start baking the cake. So make sure that today, like we did just now, make sure you look back in the text and really try to find the evidence in your text.